Hello, everybody. Welcome back to an episode of the Lim Kopi podcast. I'm your host, Stalk Kok Hao, and this podcast is brought to you by Sequentia. This is the show where I invite my guests to talk about work and life experiences as well as our memories together through a Lim Kopi session. All right, let's introduce today's guest. Together with Jason Lee at an impressive age of 17 during their second year of junior college, Tan Jia Min was the producer and art director in their well-received debut short film, Closer Apart. Since then, she pursued her love for storytelling by working on various creative and meaningful projects from short films, web commercials and series, and television series. Alright, how have you been?
Hi, I'm okay. I'm okay. A bit tired recently because it's getting more and more hectic work wise. So I'm just relishing every moment of like rest and like time I spend outside of like work whenever I can. Yeah, but I'm okay. I'm okay. How are you?
I've been fine. I've been juggling with
Mm,
part-time jobs and as well
mm,
as doing up this podcast, doing my own personal projects.
mm,
So I mean, you're quite familiar with like me trying to do a bit of content creation lately. So
mm,
I think it's been a struggle in terms of finding time to really
mm.
balance properly in terms of workload wise.
Yeah.
But I think it's a discipline that I really have to understand. How do I effectively manage my time properly lah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean you be a busy person, so I always notice that
Mm,
your Instagram story wise, like you're
mm,
always going around doing different things, you're always
mm,
busy with your production work.
mm.
Um but in terms of because we just recently came out of circuit breaker,
Yep.
so how is it like
Mm,
during circuit breaker and now that we have
mm,
transited out of circuit breaker, how
mm.
was life like now?
Honestly, okay, cause I do think I'm pretty big on like the whole like safety and like health concerns thing. So the thing is when the circuit breaker first transited into like phase one and phase two, I was so paranoid about going out. So like like the day like everyone was like counting down to like, hey, let's meet the next day. I was telling all my friends, no, we're gonna meet 2 weeks later. I was so freaked out because like I think I understand that there's a general like sort of like celebratory mood going on. Like people are excited to meet their friends, the family and stuff like that. But to me it's like we don't know what's outside. And it's not that I don't trust, like Singaporeans or my friends or anything, but generally they're I wouldn't say people are less careful, but sometimes people tend to be a bit more forgetful about needing to be on their watch lah when they are happy and like just like in general sort of hey, let's meet, like excitement kind of thing. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Um, but then does it affect
Mm.
your production work now?
Definitely yes, I would say so because I think for set wise the safety measures are a lot stricter. So
Okay.
I mean, other than the simple like having to wear our mask on set every day, and then I think like talents have to wear like face shields in between takes. There's also the concern because I do notice that on sets there's a lot of like plastic and waste going around.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, so like especially when it comes to like bottled water.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so everywhere like like you open a new carton on set and then you run through a few cartons every day, and like at the end of the whole shoot you just like huge trash bags filled with like empty like bottles and like snacks lah, like craft snacks and stuff like that. So whenever like I run a set, I try to be a bit more environmentally friendly, and I would usually just like buy one carton of water whenever my resources allow, and then I will label it all very carefully and just like ask my PAs to refill the designated water bottle for everyone. But because of the whole like COVID situation, right, it's very tough to be mindful of like the environment and to run like a less like low waste kind of set. So like my production manager and I were just like looking at how can we make this greener, and it's really not very possible because all the servings have to be single size, I mean single
That's
portions.
true. Yes.
Yeah, and disposable. Yeah.
It's a bit more difficult in terms of doing production wise,
Mm.
as okay, let's just talk about water wise, like water bottle, and you buy those mineral water,
Yeah.
and let's just say that you're supposed to be nearby to a water cooler, especially like parks wise or facilities that has water cooler. Now because of the COVID situation, the water coolers are disabled.
Oh, I didn't
Yeah,
know
okay, not
that.
all
Yeah.
exactly. Don't add me on that. But there are certain places where the water coolers are actually disabled. So
Okay.
as a production assistant, it will be trickier now to satisfy in terms of the talents, in terms of their thirst and their hunger. So especially as you cannot share food now, cannot share drinks, and you have to be more mindful in terms of that, and you have to have um face shields and face masks,
Yeah.
which is another thing that you have to worry about in terms of budget.
It's definitely added cost lah.
Yes, and as in terms of production wise, where you want to put budget into a big factor of must make sure that we cannot go over budget,
Yeah.
and all this will put into a factor, and you strain a lot in the production wise.
Definitely.
So I would say that production wise, during COVID season, it's not easy, especially.
It's definitely more expensive. Hard truths. No, the thing is that there is a general struggle right now because shoots are getting more expensive, but the kind of budget going around is smaller also, because I mean, on top of the whole COVID restriction and all the new policies that are put in place, right? We're going through a recession right now lah also. So,
Of course, yeah.
So I think naturally everything, like the economy shrinks, right? And our budgets and our resources all is shrinking. But because of that, you have freelancers and professionals that are more staffed for jobs, and whenever they get a job, they tend to try to ask for like a bit more, which is very understandable because like everyone wants to like try to survive lah and maintain a certain standard of living. But it's just a bit ironic and clashing in terms of priorities right now between freelancers, production houses, and the fundings of bodies. Yeah.
Definitely, I think it's a struggle. Yes, recession wise.
Mm.
It's so tough. Even like I myself feel the strains of it, and I'm somewhat affected by it. But at least like I feel happier at this point of time because I
Okay.
get to do the things that I like. So
Yeah.
at least but I mean, as a come cost of lower income.
Yeah.
But I think it's a period of us reflecting on our lives, and also take a step back, just slow down on our
Right.
lives,
Yeah.
and just evaluate on our life goals and our values, especially. So I mean, just it's a great way of slowing down, especially during circuit breaker wise.
It is.
I mean, I don't know for you, but for me, it's just Netflix all day.
Because actually I do feel rather similarly. So I was having this conversation with my friend like a while back, like this was still during circuit breaker.
Okay.
So I felt a bit like sort of like things slowing down. I felt like a bit like mundane lah, because you are at home every day, you don't really go outside, and there's not a lot of big milestone events to mark the year as compared to for myself, right? Like my previous year, I completed my FYP, I graduated, and I went on like multiple like pretty like big scale productions lah. And I think that was really like a very fast paced but exciting year. Like every couple of months you have
Okay.
like a milestone event. It's like, oh wow, like there is it was basically very eventful. But then for me again, like this year, suddenly like you get like 3 months of like, why nothing is going on is this like, am I not growing as much? Am I not learning as much? Am I using my time properly? And like my friend basically said like of course, like whenever we encounter big things in our lives, it's easier to see the growth lah, because you definitely come out of a big event knowing that something like this experience has changed your life in a certain way. But I think like he was mentioning that if even during like small times, right, growth doesn't always have to be visible. It's
Definitely.
also about like getting to know ourselves better, getting to reflect, and getting to sort of work on the parts of ourselves that we didn't have time to work on when all these things were happening lah. Yeah.
Oh, so you have So you have evaluated your life during circuit breaker wise.
I guess in a sort of way, yeah. So I think because for me I am more introverted, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, and being around all these like events and big sort of uh milestones very often, like I don't really have a lot of time to think about how I really feel because I'm just like surrounded by people, right? And being like an introvert, I guess I just get very affected by everyone's sort of like feelings and energies. So I don't like it gets very overwhelming because
Really?
yeah, it is. So I cannot go to like crowded markets or like concerts and stuff like that. Like all the people, right? Like the sensory overwhelming is very like intense for me. Like I hate it.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a
Yeah.
interesting perspective.
Yeah.
I find myself like a mix of extroverted and introverted personality in terms of that. I can't go concerts. I can't appreciate crowds at the same time.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I enjoy parties. But I don't know. I mean, depending on the situation itself.
Yeah.
So like, it calls for it. So if I sense like I feel insecure in a way, then I would be a bit more introverted. But if I feel like I can be myself, for example, like this, like, I can be a bit more extroverted.
Okay,
yeah.
okay, yeah.
Okay. Great to know
Yeah.
that you've been doing quite well. All right, let's move on to our Kopi Talk segment. So, before the recording session, and she's already drinking already. I did ask Jia Min what's her favorite drink, and we'll be drinking to our favorite drinks during the whole session itself, and like we'll just be talking about our favorite stories in terms
Yeah.
of like how we came to our favorite drink lah. And
Oh,
of course
okay.
we can be drinking throughout the show. So tell us what's your favorite drink and why do you like it?
Okay. So thanks Kok Hao for getting me this. This is a Teh O Ping Siu Dai. I don't know how else I can market it. It's a Teh O Ping Siu Dai.
Okay, it's the it's not like exactly ping wise because
Yeah.
I bought it when I was just at the market nearby, and I asked for hot. So because I know that when I bring back home I can put it in the fridge.
Ah,
So just
yeah.
nice during the recording session
Yeah.
it'll be just be cold. And is it cold now?
It's cold. It's cold.
Okay, great.
Thank you. Yeah.
And something I realized about drinks wise is that I try not to order drinks that is cold wise, especially if I know that I have a guest coming to my place and the guest will be coming within the next 1-2 hours. Then by the time I bring back home, then I can put it in the fridge and just nice. Because if I buy it as pink, right,
Yeah.
the ice itself will make the drink very diluted.
Oh, actually, I'm fine with that.
Yeah, you told me that. That was like shit. Why am I making such an extra effort?
No worries, but okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, yeah. So
Thank you.
is there like a story behind it? Like why do you like this a lot?
I think it was just an experimentation of kopitiam drinks like across the years. Like for myself, right, like there was this point in secondary school where everyone drank teh peng. Like teh peng was the hip drink. Like you go kopitiam, right, everyone just ordered teh peng together. But then I realized like I didn't like teh peng. There was something about teh peng that didn't sit quite well with me because like like all your friends order, right, then you just like okay lah, teh peng lor, teh peng lor. No, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the same thing that everyone order, you just like, oh yeah, okay, just order lah. But then along the way, I do realize that I don't like the milk in teh peng.
Ah.
Yeah, like the condensed milk. And I also realized that I don't like sweet things. I'm the weirdo. No, I'm the annoying person that gets like bubble tea, no sugar, no milk.
Okay.
Then everyone always looks at me. Then you drink bubble tea for what? But no, it's the customization of the tea and the toppings. Yeah, I mean like so. I guess that's how like along the way like I figure out like what my taste buds like better, and it's kind of like you take away the sugar, you take away the milk. It's just teh O peng siu dai lah, and it's siu dai not kosong because sometimes like when you get teh O peng kosong, there's a very like acidic like aftertaste on your tongue, and I don't like it. So the syrup is really just to neutralize the siap siap kind of taste, which is why I'm okay with it being diluted because actually the siu dai is also a bit sweet for me.
What?
Yeah.
So okay, next time I just buy like tea bags. Then you just make your own make your own tea lah. Then you just make your whatever.
Sorry.
Wow. So so you're the kind of person that likes to buy drinks that is no sugar.
Mm.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah.
So you're the weird person now, I guess.
I it's not weird lah. It's just a preference that I figure out along the way. Yeah, like maybe because I cut out sugar at a very youngish age, so I don't get like a sweet tooth or like sugar craving. So because of that whole lifestyle, right? Nowadays, like when I drink or eat things with too much sugar, like I feel very sleepy immediately.
Sleepy.
Yeah. I just want to fall. I just want to sleep.
Is it like a sugar rush thing? Or?
I think so. I don't even get the rush. I just jump straight to the crash.
So how about food comas?
Yeah, also.
Huh.
I mean, food coma is fine lah. I mean, like, cause I mean, I still eat every day. I just don't take sugar, so I'm used to it.
That's interesting. There's something new I learned about you. So now I know I buy drinks for you must be no sugar. But I still buy you plain water.
No, it's the taste.
Okay. At least you're living a healthier lifestyle.
Yeah.
So that's good on you. For myself, I bought sugar cane. Always liked it when I was a kid. I actually went to try eating a sugar cane before.
How like the cane itself?
Yes, it's
Okay.
an interesting experience. It's really hard, by the way.
Okay.
But I think it's the bark or something. It's really soft, and you can really
Yeah.
taste the juice.
Oh.
It's okay. It sounds disgusting, but when you try it, it's like a different experience by itself because it's the most freshest as it can be. Especially because when I was at I tried the experience when I was in secondary school, and we had this school movie shoot where we did it at the Bollywood Veggies.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then the owner, I forgot her name already, but she gave me. I bought the sugarcane there. I think it was like a purplish or more of green, more of a unripe green kind. So it's like it tastes really sweet itself. So I tried it, and I bought it like just one small piece. Then I just tried it. It tastes like it's a different kind of a tier by itself. So I think from there, like I've appreciated sugarcane more.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I can really tell what is a good sugarcane drink and the bad sugarcane.
Because you've
drink.
had the freshest already, so there is
Yeah.
that basis of comparison, right?
Correct, and somehow it came from a farm. So what can you compare that with? So it's just interesting, because I think your best friend Jason, he was talking about having milk from cows.
Why is such a strange? Okay, but yes, continue.
No, I don't want to destroy your appetite for your drink, but I think the long story short is that he was talking about how he had fresh milk from an actual cow from the others and everything. So when he drank it, he was like, I think he stayed away from milk for a very long time.
He has very weird food preferences lah. If you haven't known by now, like he went through an entire phase. Sorry, Ming Hon, if you're watching this, I'm just like exposing you here. But he went through an entire phase like in our earlier days of friendship, right? I think like in JC where he just put like ladles like scoops of chili onto everything. Then we always ask him, you eating rice or you eating chili with rice? So it's quite like disturbing because he will buy chicken rice, right? And the chicken
Okay.
rice is red colour one.
I can relate to that, unfortunately.
Are you serious?
Okay, there's only just to talk about that very briefly. I came from Nanyang Poly, by the way. There's this one canteen called the South Canteen. And it says really, really good chicken rice. And there's a few people like to do this where they will buy the chicken rice and there's a ladder or the ladle where you can put the chili. I will drown the chicken rice with the chili. So it's like basically, yeah, I know you're judging me, but yeah, I'm judging you for the no sugar anyway.
Okay.
So we
okay.
got our own judgments
Okay.
now. But I realize I'm not the only one doing this.
Okay.
So-
now you know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
as in for that particular store,
Uh-huh.
because I think that chili itself, then the chicken rice, it's really good. It's very gingery. So I mean, when you put it with the chicken, sorry, with the chili itself, it just enhances the flavor much more. So I don't know for Jason Wise, but maybe he has that thinking as well. I don't know if he still do that. Please clarify that. Thank you.
No, I think his taste buds have gotten healthier over the years. But last time, right, when we were younger, right, it's like if something is not salty or not spicy, he'd be like, no taste one leh.
I can relate to that. Okay, I think I need help. So,
Okay.
any dietitians, please contact me.
You can ask Jason.
Oh yeah, he's into the fruit juice and everything. Yeah, and now vegan ice cream. So I haven't gotten the free ice cream.
You can ask him for it. It's pretty good. It's pretty good.
You tried it?
Yeah, he gave me like small like sample tubs for my birthday lah. So that was quite sweet. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Let's move on to our main questions for today. Just the first question.
My hair stuck. Okay.
Your hair stuck. Okay, sure. Okay. Do you still remember how we first met?
Yeah, it was over the SOS shoot. You were an intern with at that point.
Okay.
Then the thing is that I met you quite late into the production because even though all along you were an intern with me, right, I never really met you until like we were quite close to shoot already. Like I was mainly working with the directors and DPs.
Okay.
Yeah. Then after that, like I was just like wondering like, hey, who's the crew because it was a very rushed shoot, right? And I think the crew was gathered very like pretty late also. Then at one point we're like, hey, how no wardrobe what do we do?
And unfortunately, yours truly was stressing over
Yeah.
wardrobe.
Yeah. So after that, they were like, oh yeah, the intern is doing it. So because I was very confused, like why everything the intern doing? Because Ben, our mutual friend,
Okay.
was the intern before you.
Yeah, he mentioned about that. Yeah.
And we couldn't find an actor. So they were like, ask the intern to do, ask the intern to do.
Wait. So are you saying that I could have been an actor for that?
No. So the thing is, I think they wanted Ben to be the actor because we couldn't find someone who could fit into our schedules so last minute. Yeah.
Okay.
And because Ben was there for the casting process. So
yeah,
the
I wasn't there for that.
Yeah, then the directors were like, oh yeah, actually this one like during the casting reads he was not bad. Just ask him do. Just ask him do. Yeah.
I've been through almost the okay, I would say maybe the first 2 weeks before the production process, and I was there for the production process, and I was there for the post production. So I've been through about 70% the entire journey itself. But I wasn't there for the first 30% because when I first came in, I think they were finishing with the casting process already. And I think most of the pre-production meetings were already being conducted already. So I've been through one or here and there, but I mean, I was going into quite blind. So I think I came with an experience without production background. So I was mostly into post-production. So I was doing motion graphics, I was doing editing. So I have no idea what is art assistant means.
Yeah.
So I was like really as blind as a rat. So
that was your first ever shoot, right? I assume.
Yes and no,
Okay.
because as a art assistant, yes. As a full production that I was involved in, yes. But no, because when I was in secondary school, like I mentioned, I was doing a movie. But the movie was not done by me, of course. It was done by a school alumni, and he was a director. So I was there as a talent instead, and I just happened to be involved a little bit on the behind the scenes.
Okay. No wonder you say you acted before. I'm like, you acted before?
Yeah. Okay. Before this recording session, we were doing a bit of tests here and there. So then I was talking to you about that, and you were like really shocked by it.
Yeah.
We can talk about that later on. I'm
Okay,
not trying to
okay.
avoid the question. Yeah.
Okay. Sure.
So that's where you first met me.
Yep.
I think I remember more vividly about how I first met you. It was during the first location scout for the school. I think that was the first time I saw you.
First location. Oh, the one at Nanhua.
Nanqiao, right?
Nanqiao,
Yeah,
is it?
Nanqiao High School, if I recall correctly.
Nanqiao or Nanhua? Nanhua. It's near NUS one.
Yeah. It's
Yeah.
NUS, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's Nanhua. Okay,
Yeah.
so yeah, I think that's the first time I saw you.
Yeah.
I think, question mark. But I think, yeah, but
Because I mean, it was such a rush process. Like I was just meeting with the team every other day. At one point, yeah. Sorry to cut you off. Please continue.
no, there's so much story behind it. But I think that's the first time I saw you. I think you came together with Siu Huan as well, if I recall correctly. But I think you were with also the directors. I think directors and the VP as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was a very rushed process, and I think it was the first time I saw you. So I think my impression of you is that you're just like really not say a mess, but you're just like all over the place, because that's my first impression of you.
Yeah.
Because you're really a busy person, so didn't really think too much of trying to converse with you. And I don't really know much about anything, so I just stand down there, just keep quiet, just observe. And I was just trying to report whatever I've seen to my internship supervisor. So
Yeah.
that you'll be asking me, oh, how's the scouting today? How's wherever you go? So I'll be just saying like whatever that I've experienced. I think the internship itself, it's a good experience. I'm not gonna lie. It's having exposed to that that mini feature was an incredible experience itself. Especially when I have really learned so much within that 3 months, and I'm just very thankful that both you and Jason were so patient with me. Especially like you had mentioned,
No
like why is this
worries.
intern doing like things that he has not done before?
Yeah. Because I think in my experience, usually with production houses, the interns, they do tend to start from PA first lah, because PA is the best position to learn the dynamics of a set, and to sort of like understand like what each department is doing and stuff like that lah.
Yep.
Yeah, and unless you come from a certain experience, or like you have a certain like background in a certain department, usually as an intern they don't really like throw you into, oh, you just go and do art, or you just go and do camera. It's like the base is I mean at the core of things, the role that you are thrown into should reflect your comfort level also, because I do feel quite strongly about this, is that internships are here to help you learn.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And you know, like you put people through like a traumatic experience, and then it's like, what if you there's a potential talent that may quit an industry because of you.
It was a roller coaster ride. I can't deny that. I had ups and downs. I shared a lot with the team, especially with you, Jason, and the rest. You guys know my struggles. You guys know my ups as well. So I think it was quite clear in terms of how we have experienced this through the entire process.
Yeah.
And the fact that you guys were there for me, I think really make the internship much more sweeter itself lah.
I'm glad. I'm glad.
Yeah. So I think, how would you describe the times when we worked together, especially during that period itself?
Honestly, in my impression, I don't think we properly became friends until after the shoot.
I think it's gradually.
Yeah. Because the timeline of the shoot itself was super tight, right? Then a lot of it was just doing things, you just like go. There's no time to like stop and think, or like stop and slowly like plan things out, which was not the ideal situation lah, because I think as far as I am concerned, like I'm not a fan of charging into things without plans. Yeah.
Yes.
And that was one of those production where you didn't have time to plan what to do.
No,
Yeah.
we're not exposing the production itself, but I would say that there are a lot of things that we could have done better.
Of course. Yeah.
Yeah, so like if I could rewind back in time, like I would definitely ask a lot more questions. I would not keep quiet. and suffer alone. I think for yourself, I think you have also gained your own lessons and experience as well. So I wouldn't say it's a bad production. I would say it's a good production as well, but it was a very fulfilling production. Yeah, so I mean, I'm not saying that it's bad, so don't come and sue me about this. It's my own podcast as well, so it's my own experience. So yeah.
Sorry, am I exposing too much?
No. I think you're not experiencing too much. I just that I don't want people to have this impression that when you're watching this film, like you're watching with the fact that the experience is bad. But I think there were a lot of good memories as well between like the few of us, like, especially the cast and crew.
Yeah.
We really bonded quite well, and we also hang out after that, which was a blessing.
Yeah.
Or somehow, you guys went to USS.
Yeah,
which
we
I
went
didn't.
to USS together. It was like, okay. So back to your question, right? So like, how was the experience working like together?
Correct, sorry.
So I mean, like, just grounding back to that question, I think to summarize everything that we've talked about, it's more like some friendships are forged when you go through fire together. Yeah. And I think like with shoots that are more like intensive and you really have the whole spirit of like trying to solve the problems and make the shoot work together, there is a certain bond there lah after you come out of that shoot, because you know that in work this person has my back.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think not all crews and not all teams have that, and I mean like that's why also like after that shoot, right? Even after it wrapped, I think we like this. Unfortunately, because our group is quite big, we haven't been able to hang out for a while because of COVID restrictions.
Circuit breaker.
yeah, but I mean before that, like we were quite tight out. Like we went to USS together, Halloween Horror Night. I died. And then like New Year also, like Jason had his own shoot, and then we went to Lohe together after that. Yeah. So I mean, those are my memories of us hanging out together. Has like I more fondly recall it after the production itself rather than during production.
Okay, as in I would say that the production was the appetizer. Then after the production was the main course. So it's like we get to really experience the chemistry better there. So
yeah,
no doubt. Yeah. Okay, so now we just talk more about yourself and
really I shy.
Okay, I mean so far you're doing okay. Yeah.
Okay.
So to talk more about yourself. So tell us more about your current job profession.
Okay, so I am a development executive at a studio called Taipan Films. So what I do as a someone on the development team is that whenever there are IPs, right, that we think of, like we will try to we do this thing called like packaging, where we fit the story according to like the current tastes and trends and the audiences, and being mindful of the commissioners that we're pitching it to also lah. And then like knowing what kind of like talents in terms of like directors, cast and writers, above the line people, so to say, that we can match the story to the team. And I think this part of pitching process is something that a lot of producers take for granted, because knowing your story and knowing your genre well is like one step in closer to get you to winning the game lah. Yeah.
Oh.
Correct. And so on top of this, right, whenever my company's my like anything in my company gets greenlit, then I will come onto the project as in the capacity of either like an assistant producer, associate producer, or producer. Depends on the scale of the project, because my bosses themselves, they are pretty veteran people in the industry. So unless it's like a rather simple or rather like lower stakes project, I will take their lead on it. Yeah. So because my current boss is actually my lecturer from uni, so yeah, there is a lot of there's still a lot of things to be learned, like, and a lot of guidance along the way. So I think at the end of it, he is training me to become an hopefully a creative producer. But I know that along the way I still have a lot of work to do. Yeah.
I see, I see. So you have been in the industry for at least since you are in 17, I would say, because that was the first time when you were doing the debut short film
Yeah.
with Jason.
Yeah.
So how has the experience been so far? And I would say, how's the growth like since then?
So, if you notice in my resume, right, I took a short detour because in my first film I did both producing and art directing, and
Okay.
I think that was the first ever project that I had the understanding of a producer in a creative capacity. But after that, I went straight into film school. So when you are in film school, oftentimes the terms of being a producer and a production manager gets mixed up quite a bit. Essentially, in film school, when you say you are a producer, you are producing this project, more often than not, you're simply a production manager because my school particularly, it's a very visual sort of environment.
Okay.
ADM is a design school lah at core, so there is a lot of focus on like directors and the director of photography. Everything is about how nice and how polished things look.
Definitely.
Yeah, so when it comes to producing in that aspect, right, there is less value. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing, but there is not as much space for a producer to come in and step in and say like, hey, you know, like we should do things this way, because essentially the input of a producer creatively is to be able to connect the story with the audiences. But when you are in school, you don't think too much about your audiences. You'll be like, oh, I'll just do this, and you know, like if things go well, I will just send it to some festivals. Yeah, there's not really a lot of consideration of where can I sell this to, where do my audiences lie, and how do I reach out to them.
It sounds like when you're in school, there's a safety net. At least you do it because like you're passionate about it.
Definitely.
So
Yeah.
like even for myself when I was in
Yeah.
poly, like I do the things like because I don't need to worry about who will like this or who will not like this. I
Yeah.
want to worry about whether I like this or not. So I don't know, like, are there any struggles in terms of trying to be, you know, coming up with like content wise when you were when you're in school versus right now?
The content that you come up with is definitely different because there are really like very very different types of projects lah, like passion projects, of course, commission projects, and then there's like your feature films and stuff like that.
Yep.
So some projects tend to be more producer led, so like the producer pitches the thing and drives the direction of where the film goes depending on the markets and stuff like that. And this is largely like a Hollywood studio system.
Yep.
Which is very much determined by producers and in TV series showrunners in that case. Yeah, but I think in Singapore, because the industry is rather small, so when it comes to outstanding projects, we think more of the independent or for lack of better words, a more art house route of things. And we have very fantastic films that have come out of that direction lah, but I think those films tend to be more director or tier driven.
It's more collaborative spirit, I would assume so.
Depends. Yeah. It's really dependent on I cannot say for sure like whether one direction is more collaborative than the other, because it doesn't really work that way lah. Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. That's cool. So right now, you're working more towards as a producer. So
Definitely.
how is your daily
Yeah.
life like as a producer lah?
Daily life in that sense, how do I say it really depends on what's on the horizon at the moment, because for us we do roughly know like what are the upcoming big pictures from various like commissioning entities. So like say like MDA, for example, MediaCorp and VITSI or etc. So partially it's also keeping track of these deadlines and call for proposals, and in between is just developing the IPs and getting them into like a more complete stage. Like maybe you say get a scriptwriter on board to write the treatment and the screenplay, and then getting it ready for these pitches lah.
Oh, that's cool. That's cool. So I think I would say that your job scope, it's like you're taking care of a lot of things. And
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
that's why you're always so stressed. When I not see you like not stressed at all.
No, as in I think it's part of my my personality. Also, I am trying to be a less busy person. Like it takes a concerted effort for me to be like, okay, today I will not do anything. Like I need to schedule days for myself to not do anything. Yeah.
That's cool. That's
Yeah.
cool. So I've assumed that you have grown a lot better since your very first your first debut short film, which is Closer Apart.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
how is it like working with Jason back then?
I think we've both grown a lot back then. So for Jason himself, he was. Well, now I'm like bad mouthing him.
No, you're not bad mouthing him. So I'm asking you more towards like how you feel, more
Okay.
towards like your experience wise, and like because I've heard it from Jason, his experience. So I mean his was very fruitful as well. So he was saying that it was challenging because like he wanted to do it, and he approached you, if I recall correctly. And he was saying that, hey, we're doing I want to do a movie. So back then he want to do a movie, but because he realized that when you want to do a movie, you must understand it through as a short film perspective first. So that's why like he did it as a short film first, and then like he got you involved, and he got like a few mentors involved as well. So what I understood is that the Closer Apart was it was tiring. It was a tiring process, but at the same time, like I was really happy to know that you guys were had the short film screened at different several international film festivals. It was well received. So
Thank you.
that's why I was quite curious about the journey itself. So like how was it like, especially working with a small team, especially when you guys are still studying, by the way?
Yeah. Honestly, like, I think it's a benefit that comes only when you are young, because you have less hesitation towards the world. So a lot of times it's like,
Just do it.
yeah, just do all. Like, why you scared? Like, just try. There's so little things at stake. And then I think for me back then was that I was doing a retain year at JC. I didn't pass my first J1. So when I met Jason they all, I was doing my repeated
Repeated J1.
yeah,
okay.
again. So at that point I was a bit like lost, like directionally, because I know that I've always like loved like storytelling and literature. So if this film opportunity didn't happen back then, right, I would have like probably gone somewhere to become like a writer, or like a agency copywriter, that kind of thing lah. Yeah. But then because back then Jason was very like he's the center of a lot of his friendship groups in a way, because he's very brave and very like dauntless about things. Like he just go like, hey, we do this lah, why scared? Hey, we just try lah, why?
Yeah, this is something I realized
Yeah.
about Jason. He's a very inclusive person.
Yeah.
So he doesn't want to let people feel left out. And I would say that for that short film itself, like included you, like because he see like, hey, you can contribute this amount of things. Like then he asked another person like, hey, this things that you can contribute as well. So it's a collective experience. So like for that short film itself, like when you do it, you guys learn together as a
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
So you guys learn from each other's experiences, and you guys learn from the mentors as well. And then you guys created the short film that as your first love lah. And when I talked to Jason, he seemed to be really, really proud of it. So when I keep asking him like, hey, what's your favorite project film? So he still say that Closer Apart, it's still like my first love.
It's really life changing in a certain way, because Uh, even for like myself lah, like there were a lot of times I think throughout like these couple of years where I did feel like giving up, or like maybe like it's time to change an industry, or like do something else, or like should I really stay on? Is this really suitable for me? But I think of the fulfillment and the joy and a sense of purpose lah, I guess, that I got from my first project. Of course, like I don't. It's not like an expectation that I think every project needs to live up to,
Yep.
but it's more like reminder of what I'm currently doing can bring to myself and the people around me, and like it's like, if you have that, then you just hold on to that law.
Oh,
Mm.
so I mean, as long as you meet the expectations, as long you satisfy yourself in terms of the goals and the expectations that's from the clients, I think it's a project that's well done. I would say. Yeah.
Thank you, thank you. Yeah, yeah, but I mean, it's really something that can only be done when you are a lot younger. I mean, especially you need someone like Jason who is not afraid to do things, because another thing about being 17 and trying to make your first film is a lot of people are like, you can man, you're so young, you sure or not, you can do it lah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And then he's like, oh, never mind lah, just try lah. You just go ask them for money lah, never mind one.
Is he that shameless?
No, a lot of times it's like that. It's like, you never try, you never know ma. And you must imagine it in his sampat like auntie voice.
I can't hear anymore. Oh my god! I think Jason, yeah, it's a character on his own. I want to
He
see a
is.
short film where he acts instead. I'll be paying money for this.
But to his credit, I do think that he has matured and mellowed a lot more over the years lah. I think his sense of bravery is definitely still there, but he thinks twice about how it affects the people around him, because I think back then he's like, oh, just do lor. Then sometimes it's like, you never think of the consequences. which I mean, it's a good and a bad thing also lah.
Do you say that he acts on the rash sometimes?
Not really leh.
Huh.
It's more like, I think when he's very focused on one thing, he tends to he tends to tunnel in on the good things and the benefits that thing may bring, and that shuts out some of the hesitation and worries that like general people may have, like the fear instinct. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. So who actually inspired you to do what you're doing right now?
Right
Or
now,
at least
huh?
right now and back then. So when you guys first started out with Closer Apart, and throughout the years, like who has inspired you greatly?
I don't think I have an inspiration,
Okay.
one person that I look up to per se lah, but I think it's a collective of the people I surround myself with, because I think everyone has a lot to learn from each other, definitely. Yeah, and we cannot just compare ourselves to like our immediate circles. It's a lot about like projecting forward and like projecting beyond your familiar like comfort zone lah. So across the years it has varied, and when I first started out, it was really just more of a genuine like, oh, try lor, why not? It
Yup.
wasn't really like a inspiration on, oh, I should really go into this because I want to be like this person. Yeah. And then across the years, I think my heroes in filmmaking, so to say, have changed to become so when I was in film school, I was very into like feature films that are of a more like sci-fi, but philosophical, that has a philosophical edge. So like I like films like Wandering Earth, Interstellar, Blade Runner, etc., etc. Yeah, but then I think these days I'm really into like sitcom showrunners. Yeah.
Oh, that's why you like to laugh now. So,
Yeah. So it's also like a studying of their genre, how they run their sort of stories, and like what makes it work for their audiences lah. Yeah.
okay, that's great. That's great to know. So what is your style right now in terms of like how will you? What's your approach to things?
You mean creatively?
Yes, creatively.
I aim to strike a balance between what the thought provoking side of art house films bring, but also the accessible and palatable side of mainstream films. Because I think a lot of people tend to separate one or the other. They say like, oh, mainstream film too on the nose, you don't get anything out of it, you just watch and laugh, and then you just okay lor.
Just experience lor.
Then like art house film is like, oh, slow, but then if you are if you are a more introspective kind of person, then you get to like think or like understand more about like life and the people around you. But I don't think it has to be one or the other. I think that a middle ground can be reached, which is why I really love films like Blade Runner, I guess. Yeah. And maybe so to say, the latest Oscar winner Parasite.
Okay.
Yeah. I think thematically and visually, it was a very entertaining and stunning film. But also like you understand more about like topics and cultures in Korea and like class divide kind of thing. Yeah.
So, I can relate to what you've mentioned. I really enjoy movies that it's not just entertaining, but it teaches you a lesson as well. So one such example was the Truman Show. So it's entertaining. It is like it's just about a TV show, but it tells you a lot about the character itself, and as well as controversial topics as about surveillance like state. It talks to you about the syndrome, as well as how for myself, like my branding. My logo and everything was actually inspired by the Truman Show. So how I brand myself was from there. I like to see myself as I live in a television series as well. So I see people around me as not say characters, but I would say people that cross my life and make an influence into my own show. So that's why I came up with that my branding itself, and it kind of made an impact. Bad Genius is also one of them. Yes, it's entertaining as hell, but it talks about the class divide and how money is always the solution
Bad
to
Genius is so
things
good.
like this. Yes. So I don't really enjoy movies that it just goes nowhere and it just entertain for the sake of being entertaining. So I like to talk about the issues that is social and of like emotionally that's impactful or whatever. So I think all this really speaks more to me than let's just say the next blockbuster. So so I've assumed that you have worked with a lot of people over the years and a lot of projects like
hopefully not enough.
Excuse me, you sent me your resume and like, it was an impressive list of things that you have done.
Can be better.
No lah. She's just being humble. So what do you say is the most memorable project? And please don't answer Crosser Apart. I mean seriously, besides that, maybe like is there any other like projects that
I do have a couple of projects and experiences that stick out like of the repertoire of projects that I have been on lah.
Great.
So career defining projects, I think so far has been Closer Apart. Definitely it kickstarted the whole like film career for me, and it made me understand that this whole industry and craft can be a very purposeful and fulfilling one. So nothing can take that experience away, because it is really unique in itself, and it's always a talking point lah for a lot of people. They were like, hey, you made your first film when you're 17 like it's something that you can only use once in your lifetime. Hey, this is my first film. And I was lucky enough to not have my first film be an assignment that I had to do in film school. Like, it was really a proper process, and our mentors
Yes.
really like expected us to live up to the
A
whole
certain
like
standard.
creative process together lah. Yeah, so that was. I know you don't say closer, but there is no way that I can mention my growth and my choosing of my career without mentioning the first that first film.
Yeah, you always
Yeah.
go back to that first project that you always done.
Yeah.
Like for myself, like
Mm.
what kickstarted everything was my very first YouTube video, and it's not on the internet, thankfully. But yeah, it may be very embarrassing, but I
Yeah.
think it has taught me a lot of things about making videos or just content production wise, and I think it is that one that paved the way to who I am today. It's like without the first, you won't really know what you're doing.
Right.
So that's why I can relate to what you mentioned. It's like, yeah, closer apart, yes, it's a memorable project. Yeah, even for myself, like the first video, it's memorable in a certain way, but in a bad way, but also in a good way.
Yeah.
In terms of that. So, any other projects that?
I think along the way, my thesis film was pretty memorable to me also because
Okay.
so my thesis film was a sci-fi VFX action film. Yeah, that was pretty ambitious in itself lah, and I think I definitely it wasn't an easy project to do because it was one that transcended a lot of boundaries that my school was used to because it crossed like 3 different majors in my school. So it's the film side, and it's the VFX side, and it's the visual communication side. So my VFX team of course came on as the CG artist for my film, and my visual communications friend became the art director for the film as well. So
That's cool.
it was like a melding of like 3 different majors in the sense that the school was not used to it because how you gonna align all the deliverables to make sure that it hit all the grading systems lah.
Yes, it's 3 different disciplines as well, so
Yeah.
it's not gonna be easy. So how do you guys manage to overcome it?
A lot of pre-planning. So I think for a lot of projects, the planning is I'm not trying to like say that ours is complicated and big or whatever lah, because I know for a fact that it's not the best film, but I am very proud of my team for the amount of heart and time that they each and everyone put into the project, because it was really like not easy to have that long runway and sustain that stamina to create a short film for so long. Like we spent almost 1.5 years on it. Like what short film 25 minutes, you spend 1.5 years on it. It's not very common, you know.
I know you shouldn't be embarrassed by it, but it's not about how long you guys take.
No, definitely I'm not embarrassed by it, but it's more like a understanding of what our resources were back then and how we managed to actually pull it off lah. Because also I think another thing is that as students you don't really expect to pull something of this level off. It's the same thing as Closer Apart. Like everyone was like, are you sure or not, can do or not? And then I think maybe it's a sense of when you are again like when you are young, you'll be like, okay you say I cannot do, then I prove you wrong.
Oh, so you find that you are revisiting that experience when you are doing your thesis film.
Yeah.
Interesting. So what are the biggest challenges that you have faced throughout your career that you have experienced, and how did you overcome those challenges?
Wow, challenges.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay, better word is obstacles. Yeah.
I feel like okay, I think it's definitely not a huge issue. I think it's a lucky problem lah that I'm actually even having this problem in the first place. But there was this one point when I was in my last year of uni where I was very, very close to giving up. Yeah, I was like, should I just like quit and pursue an entirely different industry? So yeah, so I wouldn't really say it's an obstacle for by its traditional means, or like maybe this is not the answer that you're looking for, but this is what was really like a turning point in deciding that I should continue pursuing it. Because when you are in film school, a lot of times you just same thing like you do lah, but I reached a point where I felt very drained and very exhausted by that whole like set and reset process. I really like forgot like what I was in for, and I was like, should I continue? Is there still meaning in doing this? But yeah, after a while, I mean there were a few problems along the way lah, of course, that I probably didn't have the stamina for such a long project, firstly, because that was when we were doing our thesis film also. And I think secondly was also it came to a point where I was doing more than I was watching, because the same thing with all practitioners, right? If you're a writer, you need to read. If you are a filmmaker, you need to watch films. If you're a musician, you need to listen to music. So I wasn't watching anything, any entertainment or like any films or any TV shows back then, because I was
a point of reference.
Yeah. I was like so tired and like so exhausted by just like chonging every day. Yeah. Then at one point it was like I really forgot a lot what I was doing this for. Yeah.
So you felt the creative drain, and you felt like you're in a loop of just trying to finish assignments and without going to enjoy watching movies that matter to you.
Yeah.
And then you just in the constant loop of this, and you just felt a little of that emotional distress. And
I wouldn't really say emotional distress, but it's more of a I forgot why I pursued the craft in the first place lah.
I see.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
how do you manage to pick yourself up from there?
Honestly, it was really just as simple as taking a break.
Taking a break.
I know very lame lah, but after such a dramatic like explanation, but it's really as simple as like slowing down and remembering like why I watch why I like watching films, or like why I like watching TV series in the first place. Yeah.
Okay, because I was hoping I could answer like, oh, you went to a packing, then you went to like overseas, and you hibernate there.
I wish no, but because actually when I finish my sort of school, I didn't have the time to go on a grad trip or like take a break, as in like a long break, as
That's unfortunate.
a lot of graduates had or planned, not because like my family was like financially strapped or whatever, but it was more of I had good opportunities that came my way, and I feel like it would stunt my career if I didn't take them on.
So it was like an opportunity that you shouldn't be losing out on lah.
Yeah. So my thesis film finished shooting around December, and then the delivery was in June. But in between then, I had a couple of months to like slow down and to unwind a bit lah. Yeah. Then after that, after I graduated, I ran our graduation show as well. So that was the first thing. And then after that, one of my close friends in school was directing a web series, and he asked for my help to be on it. So
Oh, wow.
So yeah, so I went on to that was like my first job out of school. Fish, if you're listening, thanks for giving me my first job out of school. So yeah, that was that. Then after that, I went on to Westworld, which was quite exciting.
Oh yeah, Westworld. Yes, Swan told me about it.
Yeah, so that's where I met Swan as well. Like we were in the same department, so she sat opposite me lah. Actually, then we became like quite close friends.
Are you allowed to talk anything about it?
I will try to be discreet.
Okay, what's our experience with Westworld?
It's really, really eye-opening, really, really mind-blowing. Like, you don't really see such huge sets in Singapore. Like so same thing, like it was a very rushed production. It was rather cramped like time-wise, and everyone was scrambling. But it's also because like it was such a big shoot, right? And it's like on an international scale, that everyone brought their A game to the table whenever they were in office or like on shoot lah. And it was there were problems, no doubt, but I think the Singapore team was really really like had really really good people. Yeah.
That's cool. I mean, I'm sure that the Westworld production has definitely opened your eyes in
Yeah.
terms of how potentially big it could be. And
Definitely.
oh, must be very tiring to handle such a large scale production.
It was quite tiring.
Must be running a lot of coffee then.
Yeah. So the story of actually how Swan and I became friends was that because she sat opposite me, right?
Okay.
And then I started noticing that why she never eat her food one? Why she always like skip her meals and stuff like that?
Yeah, she's willing to skip her meals. Like even when I was with her,
Yeah.
she was a production assistant for that production when I was doing internship with. She started skip meals. She doesn't drink much. Because I asked her like, "What do you just drink or eat?" And then she's like, "Oh, I'm busy. I need to do things here and there."
Yeah.
And sometimes I remind her to like just eat something. I don't want to carry a person to the hospital, right?
Yeah. And the fact is that I really admire her bravery because she's so young. Like she's like. She always tells me, "Oh, I was born in the year 2000." So I'm like, "Oh my god!" Then I remember like, "Oh shit, we're really super young." So she's 20 this year. Can you imagine?
I mean, she's our age group, so
Kinda like.
yeah lah.
So I mean like back then it was also like knowing this girl that is so young but trying to like carve a life for herself in something that she really believes in was really like inspiring like in a certain way. So I was like, I don't know, maybe I just took it upon myself to like feed her and bring her food. Then I mean like slowly like we started like like becoming friends also.
That's
from
cool.
there.
That's cool.
Yeah.
So Swan, if you're watching this, please contact me. I want to invite you as well.
I love you, Swan.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think Swan. I think Swan has a lot of interesting stories about Westworld. I want to hear more about that. As
You
well.
can ask her more when you meet her. I think she has definitely more interesting stories than I do.
Yeah, she's a really interesting storyteller, by the way. So when you first started out to now, I'm sure you have experienced a lot of things that you wish that you have known when you first started out. So are there like things that you wish that you have knew when you first started out as like a art director or producer?
A lot lah. Like honestly, like if I look back onto all of my projects, like if I had the chance to redo all of them, I will redo all of them quite differently. But I don't see it as a thing I wish I knew earlier, and I don't see any of them as like regrets because I know it sounds very like politically correct, but I really do believe that
No, it's your opinion.
every one of them is like a learning experience lah, and a opportunity to understand further why, because your mistakes are mistakes for you to grow. They're not there to set you back. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't really see it as I need to redo anything, honestly. Yeah.
So, I mean, even though you find that there's a lot of things you can have done better, but you still will embrace it and just keep moving forward lah.
Yeah.
That's a good way of answering this question.
Thank you.
Okay, maybe there's a few more questions. Is there like anything that nobody sorry, is there like anything that you find yourself that nobody actually agrees you on? It can be work, it can be life wise or anything.
As a person, I value harmony a lot, so I tend to not be too opinionated about like controversial things. Of course, I have my own views lah, but I don't really tend to like voice it out. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, because I think conflict in a way is not really productive in any way lah. Like okay, I'll just say it here. I know this is a bit sensitive, but because you see a lot of social issues and concerns going on in the world these days, but I do see a lot of the social media generation, especially like people our age or like like a bit younger, a bit older, like they're very outspoken about these issues, and I think it comes from a good place, like when you're caring about social issues, it comes from an intrinsic place of wanting the world to be a better place and wanting everyone else to love each other more. and caring more about things beyond yourself. But some of the way activists have done it, I don't really agree, because when you post like long angsty rants on like social media, right, it doesn't come from a place of teaching and empathy, and honestly it turns people off more than it educates them, which is why like a lot of older people tend to call us like social justice warriors lah, because they are like, oh, these like angsty keyboard warriors just like going away at it again, nothing better to do. But that's not the case. But the fact is that if you're channeling anger and frustration outwards, right, towards like why are things not being done and like advocating for them, it tends to backfire in that way. Yeah.
I can sort of relate to what you're mentioning about this. It's also the rising generation of cancer culture. It's also really scary, especially like the recent controversies around Singaporean YouTubers and celebrities, where when they do something wrong, and then the whole general public will just cancel them, and it's really scary. It's not teaching us to be. I would say sometimes their mistakes can be really big, but I still feel that everybody deserves a second chance.
I think that everybody needs to be educated.
Yes.
I may disagree slightly a bit on the second chance things.
Okay, sure.
Because I think some of like really like deep seated like cultural problems needs to be gone already lah, by how we are progressing as a society at this point. Like especially like things like racism and xenophobia. Like I don't feel like we should have a place for those in our society anymore.
Definitely.
But it's the way that a lot of people are going about to advocate for these causes that are intrinsically good that is very off-putting and backfiring in a certain way also lah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I think cancel culture is something that I'm personally very worried now, especially as I'm putting out myself here, as I'm doing this podcast. So I don't want a certain opinion that I mentioned throughout the last 5 episodes, including this, and then somebody's gonna like say that, oh, Kok Hao said this. I'm like, oh shit,
Yeah.
how am I gonna respond to this, and how do I react in a way that I could come off as an apologetic person,
Oh.
and as a mature person as well, as wanting to grow as a person,
Yeah.
and not cancel me to the point where I have to switch industries. I still enjoy what I'm doing, but I don't want to reach into that point.
No lah. Honestly, I think as long as you just be a like generally good person and embrace growth, you should be fine, because most of the time cancel culture itself, like the cause of it doesn't come from a bad place. You're trying to remove issues that are detrimental to the progress of society at this point. It's just the way that it's going about is not really productive. Like I mean, like you post like one long rant on your Instagram story, then people see they angry only ma. What can they do about it? Yeah.
Yeah, but I think it's also managing your emotions better and learning how to deal with it. I think people, not say people, but also myself, like I do get my emotions control me very easily. So I'm also working on that. I'm a work in progress. So everybody just need to learn that we are not perfect. So we are always working on ourselves and always wanting the best for each other. So I think that's the way of social media wise. Like we can't just be keyboard warriors all the time. We must also learn to love people as well.
Of course, yeah. No lah, and I think it's great that social media, like like having all this activism opens up a lot of conversation and discourse, and this is something that maybe in generations that didn't grow up with social media could have access to, because nowadays you can reach people so easily. Like if you're doing a research topic on a certain issue, you can easily reach your target audience group and your target subject group, and it's very easy to connect those together. So I think the frustration comes from also like it's so easy to educate yourself now, so and you have all these resources, so it's like, why are you not doing it? And I think a lot of people, myself included when I was younger, actually tend to come from a place of, oh, like maybe you don't have access to these resources, so I'm going to share them with you. But it's the tone that is being brought about. Like if it comes from a place of anger, frustration, or like irritation. Like it can come off as a big like bigoted instead.
You know, kick off is turn off as well. So it's definitely about who you're talking to and are they using their cards properly. So it's just about perspectives and understanding. Like, are you able to be matured about the conversation? So I think that's something that I'm also learning as an individual as well. So if I were to give like my thoughts, my experiences to a younger person that wants to maybe strive as a content producer for them, like I have to be objective. Like I cannot just tell them the good stuff. I have to tell them the bad stuff as well. And I cannot sugarcoat everything as well. I have to tell them like the harsh realities as well. So it's a balance. Like you have to be politically correct but incorrect at the same time. So yeah, I don't know. This is just how I feel, honestly. So yeah. Now, just like 1-2 last questions. Any tips will you give to anybody starting out as what you're doing now?
Tips, huh?
Yep.
Most importantly, I think be humble. And be respectful of the systems and cultures that have been set in place so far, because in the industry right now actually there is a certain like divide of it's a general trend lah, like the experienced freelancers, we call it the 老jiaos, like tend to not be too fond of the newer kids on the block, and the newer kids on the block tend to think that the 老jiaos are very like stringent, very like unnecessarily fierce, all that kind of thing. So there is like a divide that sometimes like don't really like cross, which is a bit frustrating, because the 老jiaos need to understand that times are changing and perspectives and ways of working are changing, but the new kids on the block also need to understand that these people, the 老jiaos, come from a place of experience and they've really gone through so much more and so many more years than what you have right now lah, and both sides need to be respected. But a lot of the new kids on the block, and I think myself included when I was a lot younger, we come in with the idea of
I want to do this, I want to do that.
Not really, but more like I want to change things.
Yes, correct.
Which may not really be the right kind of mindset. Because how are you supposed to change something where you don't fully understand? So it's really more of a matter of learning the rules before you can break them, rather than trying to break them for the sake of it lah.
That's true. So you have to learn the fundamentals first.
Correct.
And then learning to break them in a respectful manner.
Correct. You need to know why these practices are in place in the first place, and then it's a matter of how you can improve things to make the industry more sustainable and grow as a collective, rather than just like barging in and like, no, this doesn't work, and like pam. Because there's a lot of conflict and dispute. I wouldn't really say dispute, but it's more like, because these circles tend to be a bit more mutually exclusive, which is a bit sad because both sides have so much to learn from each other.
Yes. I believe like whether you're young or old, there's always things to learn. And I don't think it's a production industry exclusive problem. It's common in every single job that you're facing, that you're new, that you think you know everything, but but the old say that no, you don't know anything. So
it's everywhere lah.
It's everywhere. So but then again, I think in this industry it's much more obvious in a way, because it's a very small industry. So you really have to learn the rules first, and respecting the people who craft the industry as how it is.
Correct.
So you cannot discredit their successes and their achievements, their milestones, and understanding where they're coming from. At the same time, understanding that you have the drive to do things. So you cannot lose your identity in a way. But at the same time, you have to understand that, hey, I've been through where you've been through, so that's why I work so hard to where I am right now.
So for myself, right, I do kind of believe that a lot of people in the industry, they think that they are trying to make the industry grow and become better, but the conflict comes about because the way that they believe will help the industry is different from each other's.
It is values, I would say.
Not really, not really.
Okay, in what sense?
But in sort of like practices, in the flaws, the different industries that you're exposed to, because I think for the newer generation, we are very influenced by the auteur cinema and the very like art house side of things, the independent spirit. But the older generation, they are very influenced by the Hong Kong and the China sort of like way of working
I
lah.
can see where you're coming
And
from.
of course, you have the Hollywood influenced people, and it's not really about like having a system that's a standard throughout the whole world, because like every country works differently. You can't have the same cookie cutter industry across, and our industry is such one that is such heavily influenced by the culture and the socio-political climate that you are where your residence is in. So it's about like, because all these influencers, right, you tend to think that, oh, this system is better, that system is better, or this system should be the way to do it, to be doing things.
I see.
But in reality, I think we all just need to find one that is best for ourselves lah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great. I think that's something we can learn from. Yeah. So now coming back to you, what's next in your life? Maybe let's say the next 5-10 years or whatever years.
Okay. So immediately, I'm just doing a bit of a plug here. If you don't
Sure.
mind.
Go ahead. There's a segment for that if you want to talk about it. Yeah.
So I'm doing a web series right now.
Okay.
For a streaming platform Vidsi. Yeah. It's from it's a situational comedy centered around a bubble tea shop. Yeah.
Somebody said doesn't want any sweet.
No.
0% sugar.
I drink my bubble tea without sugar.
Okay, great.
So it's from the creators of Average Guys, the web series, and the short film Uncle Goose Waits for a Phone Call. So I think it's a interesting sort of balance so far, because these two directors, they do have their own following and I wouldn't say fan base. Like, I think the both of them will cringe when they setting off fan base. But I mean, like, there's a following behind the two of them lah, and I believe that their sensibilities and their creativity together would make for a very interesting product. So please watch it when it's out.
Yes, please let me know. Can help you promote as well.
Thank you.
I would love to watch it. Sounds really interesting.
Thank you.
I'm not a big fan of bubble tea, but sure.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So if our viewers want to connect with you, how can they connect with you?
You can reach me via Instagram.
Okay, so what's your
Yeah.
Instagram?
So okay, I need to explain my handle first, okay? Because it's been so long, so I just never changed my Instagram, but I created it when I was a lot younger. So like, it's a very narcissistic handle in a way, but okay, so I love the band Paramore. And Paramore has this guitarist called Taylor York. So when I was younger, like, I didn't know what to put lah for my social media handles. Then I'm like, who should I get inspired by? Oh, I like Taylor York. What's his handle? So Taylor's social media handle last time was "It's Taylor, y'all."
Okay, that explains.
Yeah. So I was like, that's cool. I want to be like Taylor. So
just follow.
my Instagram handle is "It's JM, y'all." But I'm sorry, it's a bit narcissistic. I can't find another handle to replace it until now, because it's been around for so long. Yeah.
I
So
like
it just stuck.
It's cool. So it's not narcissistic. I wouldn't agree to this. I think it's just cute in a way.
Thank you.
Yeah. Like, even for my handle itself, like, it used to be a very cringy one, so I'm not gonna talk about that one. But the only reason why I changed it to what it is right now is when I was in poly, in year 2, year 3, I was in Thailand. It was a fully expenses paid trip to there because ASEAN. and I need to have a nickname because usually the foreign students, because there was a mixture of like people from Thailand, Vietnam, Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Laos. I think that's all, I guess, if I recall correctly. And how the hell are they going to pronounce Kok Hao? So then,
It's a language thing lah.
sorry?
It's a language.
Yeah, it's a
thing,
language thing. So I need to come up with something really creative. And I'm like, because I remember people always call me KH. So as in the letters like KH. So I was like thinking maybe you can pronounce it as K, like K as in KAY.
Yeah.
KYH. So like people just call me K. I'm like, okay no. So I'm KH now. So that's how it came about. It just
That works.
it works. It's so much easier to remember and just much more catchy in a way lah.
Yeah.
And it just happened that I am looks like a bit like my surname, so Lam. Like it's spelled like
Okay.
So it's just nice, or everything just falls nice.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I don't think I'll be changing my my Instagram handle anytime soon. But hey, it's just an interesting story, I would say.
Yeah.
Okay, great. So if you want to check her out, her details are in the descriptions and the respective platforms and on screen right now. If you're watching from YouTube. So in the next episode, we are featuring Eunice Lee, a financial planner and consultant. You definitely don't want to miss it. We've been talking about a lot about money and financials. Alright, we're coming to the end of this episode of the Lim Kopi podcast. Thank you so much, Jia Min, for joining us in this episode. Anything you want to say now?
Thank you, Kok Hao, for having me.
Yes. No worries. Alright, my name is Stalk Kok Hao and I'm your host for this podcast. I'll see you all in the next episode. Bye, guys.